Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to show you one of my favorites. This is a Cobra HH50. Cobra HH50 handheld CB. One of my favorites. It just feels perfect in my hand. Got a beautiful display. Got an absolutely beautiful display on it. Easy to see. Even during the bright sun, I can see it pretty well. It talks really nice and clear. I can hear it pretty well and clear. It's got some nice features on it. It just feels comfortable. I like this handheld. Probably one of my most favorites. The rubber duck antenna never works well from the factory. You can buy the high shrieker, the HYS antennas from Amazon, 51-inch antenna. Those 51-inch antennas work fantastic, and they really do the good job. So what I do is I'll leave that tall antenna on it. Sometimes I'll set that. This has got scan, so I'll set it on scan and put it on my coffee table. I get almost a week out of the batteries just scanning to see who's talking about what in the neighborhood. Kind of neat to do. Sometimes I'll even test how long I can broadcast on it. I'll pick it up and say testing 1, 2, 3. I do that like every couple of minutes. I've done it for hours and hours, and the batteries are still good. So of course I use rechargeable batteries in it. I like the rechargeable batteries. I refuse to buy alkaline batteries. They just go. I go through them so fast it's not worth it. So I have a couple of hundred rechargeable batteries. So let me show you the Cobra HH50. We're going to show you the features. I'm going to show you what kind of power it makes. And I'm going to bring it out and range test it, and we'll see how far it goes, how far it can talk to my base station antenna. My base station, the antenna is 50 feet in the air. I've got a really good base station that receives incredibly well. So it really hears everything within 20 miles. So it usually picks up the handhelds no problem for quite a while. So let me show you the HH50. Okay, let me show you the features on this. And let me show you what it comes with. It comes with a cigarette lighter adapter. I really like that. So if you're using it as a mobile. Now if you're using it as a mobile, it also comes with this, which is excellent. None of the CBs come with this, but this, I bought 3 of them. Got 2 there and 1 here. I bought 3 of them. They all came with this. You take the antenna off, and you put this little adapter on there. Now you can buy an actual CB antenna that a magnet that goes on the roof. And a magnetic antenna, if you get like a 5-foot, you really want to get a 5-foot tall CB antenna, that'll get you 6 to 8 miles. Well, 5 to 8 anyhow. 5 to 8 miles on a good 5-foot antenna. But without this adapter, you can't use a regular CB antenna. So they give you the adapter, which is excellent. They also give you the cigarette lighter, so you can plug it into the cigarette lighter. And the real nice thing I like about this is all my old Radio Shack walkie-talkies, they take NiCad batteries. And NiCad batteries weren't the best, but hey, they were all we had back in the 80s and 90s. But today they have nickel metal hydrate batteries, which are fantastic. And this takes 9 rechargeable nickel metal hydrate batteries. Awesome. I really like that. It's an excellent feature that you can put those in it or the others. And they give you a charger for it. So if you should put that in, you can take the cigarette lighter adapter, and it comes with this little piece on the end. This one goes into the radio just to power the radio, or you can put this little piece on. This plugs right onto that other piece. That's the charging jack. So if you see on the side here, I have a charging jack and a power jack. Well, the cigarette lighter, just by itself, goes into the power jack. Forgive me, I'm not good at holding the camera and trying to work this stuff. All right. Now that's the cigarette lighter plugged in there. Or I can take this other jack and plug it into, the charge. And I can plug that into the charging jack, and I can charge it up. So I really like that feature. I think that's a great idea, that I can charge it while I'm mobile. I can charge it while I'm mobile and use the rechargeable batteries. Because why would you use alkaline batteries? You're just going to kill them pretty quickly. Can come with a really nice, easy direction manual like that. Now, as I said before, you can buy separately, a HYS from Amazon. They're about $17, $16.99. This is a 51-inch telescoping antenna. That 51-inch antenna works unbelievably well. I keep reading all kinds of reports on this radio where it's only good for a quarter of a mile. With this rubber duck antenna, yeah, a quarter mile is probably about right. They just don't go very well with that little factory antenna. But you can buy a couple of these. So if you buy 2 of these and you're trying to get some distance, if you buy 2 of these HYS antennas from Amazon for $17 a piece, the range will do pretty good. That really receives well, and it receives very well, and it transmits very well with that tall antenna. All right, let me show you the features. Okay, the features on this, really nice. I like everything about this. It's just laid out perfect. It just sits in my hand perfectly. My fingers fall right to the buttons that I need. Has a great light. As I said, it's got a fantastic display on it. On the side, you have a light at the top, channel up and down, push to talk. On the top, you have volume and squelch. Volume and squelch on the top. As I showed you, you have an auxiliary speaker jack, an auxiliary mic jack. When you plug in the charger to charge these rechargeable batteries, the light comes on, tells you you're recharging it, and you got a power jack. So really good. You got this nice lanyard on it. So if you're out there, I usually use I'll usually use a holster. I have a holster for every walkie-talkie I own. That way I can put it on my backpack if I'm out there and I can still hear it. Now, let's see. It's got a weather channel, so you just hit the weather channel.
To southwest, winds 20 to 30 knots. Becoming west 10 to 20 knots. Seas 6 to 10 feet.
So it's got 10 weather channels. I think I get 2 of them.
25 knots.
If you want to change it, just go up and down.
Seas 5 to 8 feet. Monday, northwest, winds 10 to 20 knots. Becoming west. The southwest 10 to 15 knots.
All right, so the weather works great. It's got a dual watch on it. So let's see here, dual watch. Oh, it's got a scan. I love the scan on it. Let me turn the light on for you. So now, like I say, I leave it in the house on the coffee table or the kitchen table with this good tall antenna. And with a tall antenna, I'll hear trucks going by and different things, and it works pretty good. But in a house, it really is it doesn't work very well inside of a house. You really need to have it out. So usually I'll put it on the deck or something, or I have a window open. And speaking of using it in a house, if you're trying to use this inside of a car with this rubber duck antenna, it will not transmit. You'll get 50 feet. You can't use the rubber duck antenna inside of a vehicle. Inside of a vehicle, that's like what they call a Faraday cage. It doesn't let radio signals in or out. So if you're going to use it inside of a vehicle, you need to put the adapter on it and put an antenna on the roof. Let's get back to the features here. All right, it's got high-low. Let me get it off the scan. It's got a high power and low power, so you just tap. Sure you do. You press program power. No, that's dual watch. I guess I got old eyes here. All right, it's got a dual watch. My local channel is 27, and I listen to 19 a lot, so I have it set up for dual watch for the 2. Now for power, if I want to change the power, and it has emergency. Let's see, so emergency, so I can go from channel 19 if I was on it, 9 or 19. 9 or 19 has that. Has sound tracker. Now, according to, I like to leave the sound tracker on. The sound tracker is supposedly able to reduce a lot of the background noises. So if you're talking to somebody that's far away and you have all this static, hissing pops, you have a lot of background noise, you really can't hear the person you're talking to. But with the ST turned on, the sound tracker turned on, supposedly that gets rid of a lot of the background noises and you can hear them. All right, to turn the power on, to change the power, you just press function, and I got dual watch again. Let me see. Maybe it's the top one. All right. Oh yeah. To change the power, you press function and the CB, and now it says power save. Power save is 1 watt, or I can go back to program CB. When it doesn't show anything, that's high power. That should be whatever. I think it's 3 watts on this, or right around there. It's got a lock, so again, like I say, I like to put it on my backpack. So sometimes I'll put it on a certain channel if I'm trying to keep in touch with somebody, and I'll just hit lock so it doesn't change the channel on me. So it's got weather channel, and it's 9 and 19, dual watch, a background noise reducer, the ST sound tracker, they call that feature. So it's got everything I could possibly want, and it's got a nice speaker on it. Sure it does. It does. Well, it did used to have a nice speaker. Let's get that on a different channel. So the speaker's not bad. I can, when I first buy a radio, I always buy a radio, I set it someplace, we'll say there, and then I take another radio. I've got an elastic band on this to tell me which one has alkaline batteries and which one has the rechargeable batteries. So when I first get them, I always just kind of test. And I'll walk out to my mailbox and I'll have a video camera on it. And this Cobra sounds really nice. I mean, really nice. Seems to transmit nice and clear. Seems to receive nice and clear. So those are the features on it. And I'm going to show you the power test now. Let me set up for a power test. Okay. Before I do the power test, just going to tell you, this is Cobra has been bought out by Cedar Electronics. I don't know how long ago, quite a while, at least 5 years. Cedar Electronics is an excellent company. A lot of times I need to call up and I ask a question about this and that, because I'm always playing around with my walkie-talkies. And I lost a part on it. I called them up and I said, gee, I lost whatever part. It was, I think it was one of these little adapters. And they said, no problem. And they said, we'll mail one out to you, which was fantastic. Nice people. They were excited and happy about it. I said, I'm just doing a range test walkie-talkie video on your Cobra. And they got excited. They said, wow, we'd love to see it. Can you send us the video? How many companies do that? The people that work there were always excited and happy. And we'll answer any of your questions. I've had to call President and Uniden and different ones. They're never happy to talk to you. But Cedar Electronics, they stand behind their products. They're very, very good. Great people. I had another question, though. Most of my walkie-talkies have a little button in the back. So if I have rechargeable batteries, I just flip the switch from rechargeable batteries or alkaline batteries. These didn't have a switch. No big deal. So, but I was saying, how does it work? Because alkaline batteries would be 13.5 volts. And 13.5 volts is, that's a lot. But if you use the rechargeable batteries, well, rechargeable batteries only have 1.2 volts in each battery. So it uses 9 batteries. 9 times 1.2 is 10.8. Well, 10.8 versus 13.5 is a huge difference. So I said, oh my God, if I use the rechargeable batteries, I'm going to get a lot less range. And so I called him up and I said, what are you guys doing? Isn't, most of my walkie-talkies, they have a couple of dummy batteries. So what it does is you put like 10 rechargeable batteries, 10 times 1.2 would be 12 volts. Or you put 8 alkaline batteries and 2 dummy batteries, which still gives you 12 volts. But these, it doesn't matter if you're using rechargeable batteries or alkaline batteries. You just put them in there, no flipping switches, no doing anything, and it works. So I called them up. They were more than happy to talk to me. The woman I talked to sounded very knowledgeable, and she said it won't make any difference at all. 13.5 versus 10.8, that's a huge difference. In CB land, that is a huge, huge difference. I said it can't possibly get the same range. They said it will. So I said, I don't believe him, but I said, okay. So I put the rechargeables in it, and like I say, I get a week out of it. It's always transmitting. It seems to be transmitting and receiving fine with the rechargeable batteries, but I just can't believe the range would be the same. So to test it, what I did is I have this one here with the elastic band. I put, and just because I didn't expect this to work well, and I don't like to buy the alkaline batteries. It's an awful waste to buy the alkaline batteries. So I looked around online and I found EBL makes rechargeable 1.5 volt batteries. And these are these EBL, and they are rechargeables, but they're 1.5 volts. So these are the same as alkaline, same power as an alkaline. They're 1.5. So this walkie-talkie will be 13.8. And this one with I use Power Owls. And with the Power Owl, and I like the Power Owl, I've been using them for several years. Never had one go dead. I get hours and hours and hours out of everything I put in there. And these Power Owls, which are 1.2 volts, work great. So this walkie-talkie only has 10 this walkie-talkie only has 10 volts, and this one's got 13.5. Huge difference. So we're going to take both of them out, so we do it on the same range test, and I'm going to use the same antenna. I'm going to use the rubber duck on both antennas, and I'm going to use this long telescoping antenna. So, and with that telescoping antenna, it does all my walkie-talkies with that HYS telescoping antenna from Amazon do very, very well. All right, let's see what we get for power here. So this is the 10.8 one, and we're going to put it on low power first. Okay, it says power save. Let me turn this on. I haven't charged this in a while. It's yellow, but it looks like it'll work. All right, dead key in it. Dead key looks 99.99, so 1 watt. 1 watt on 1 watt on low power. This is a peak meter on the bottom. Let's see. It looks like we got test 1, 2, 3, test 1, 2, 3, test. And maybe 2 or 3 watts on the peak meter. All right, now we're going to put it on high. All right, so now it doesn't say power save. And we're going to just dead key it. And something's terribly wrong because it's not giving me any power at all. Oh, antenna came loose on me. Okay. Something's wrong. Okay. Antenna cable came loose. All right, so dead key in it is 2.65, actually. 261. Dead keys, 261. Let me put a tone on it. and the right about 5 watts peak. Hang on. A lot of times I put the camera on a tripod to do this. I'm going to try it on a tripod. Okay, got the camera on a tripod. And I'm having a problem with my antenna cables here. All right. All right. Here's my tone. Now my tone is right around, looks like 8 watts. So running a tone, 8 watts. Now that's on the one. That's on the one that's that's on the 10.8 watt one. I'd like to shut this tone off, but I keep getting crazy things from Gemini, and you name it, I get crazy things on this phone, so I can never get to where I need it to be. Okay, got that off. So the 10.8 one gave me 2.6, but with a tone on it, it swung almost up to 8 watts. And just talking on it, if I keep talking into the microphone or fairly close to it, you can see it's around 10 watts, maybe even a shade more than 10 watts, which is pretty darn good. All right, now we're going to try the one that's 13.5 volts. So give me a second, we'll see about the one that's 13.5. All right, the one with the 13.5, I'm going to dead key on low power. Low power is about 0.90. So again, about 1 watt on low power. Now we're going to go to high. Okay, and on high, dead key in. 3.72. So 3.72 is a huge difference from 2.61. 2.61 versus 3.67. That's more than a watt. And 1 watt, every watt matters, you know. So alkaline batteries versus the rechargeable batteries. The alkalines are great, much greater. Let's see what we get with a tone. All right, we're right around 10 watts, and it's a nice steady 10 watts. 10 watts peak on with the tone. If I was talking into it, it does go up a little higher. If I talk into it, we're probably 11 or 12. It almost jumped up to 18 or so. The first line is 20 watts. So we're a good 15 or so watts on peak. We're a good 15 watts on peak with using the alkaline batteries. So the alkaline batteries make a huge difference. But according to Cobra, and they've been so good to me, they everything they've told me has been right on the money so far. They told me if I take out the 2 walkie-talkies, I'll get the exact same range. Doesn't matter if you're using alkaline batteries or rechargeable batteries. So we're going to go take them out for a range test, and we'll find out. So let's go see. I'm back. You know what I forgot to do? I like to plug the cigarette lighter. I got the cigarette lighter plug. I'm going to plug the cigarette lighter plug in, and let's see what we get for power on the cigarette lighter. Dead key. Dead key is the same. Dead key is right on the same. Let's try the tone. Hang on. I got a free app that makes the tone for me, and the free app just keeps giving me advertisements. All right, now we're on the tone, and I'm talking fairly close to it. Again, it's about 10 watts, so plugging it into the cigarette lighter didn't make much of a difference. A lot of my CBs, if I plug the cigarette lighter in, it makes a huge difference. But it doesn't seem to make much of a difference on this one. All right, we're going to go out and take a range test. I'm still back doing the range. I'm still back doing the power test. Now, this is the CB that has the 10.8 rechargeable batteries, 10.8 volt rechargeable batteries, and that's giving me about 2.5 watts. Now I'm going to plug the cigarette lighter jack in. Okay, and now let's see what we get. About 3.5. So we went from 2.5 watts to 3.5 watts. But it doesn't make much more than the alkaline batteries. I kind of thought it would. So anyhow, that's interesting to see. A lot of my walkie-talkies, when I plug in a cigarette lighter plug, I gain a couple of extra watts, or at least maybe at least 1.5 watts, just by plugging in a cigarette lighter. Because a cigarette lighter is 13.8 volts. But on these Cobras, it doesn't matter if I plug them into the cigarette lighter or if I'm using the batteries, I still get about the same. So we'll go out and do the range test. On my range test, I actually did the range test Memorial Day weekend. So May 27th of 2024 I did this. And I'm just getting around to finishing everything up. I've got hundreds of videos that I never get around to finishing up. So I'm just finishing it up now. Again, when I did the thing, because it was a 3-day weekend, everybody and their brother was on CB. I've never seen such a busy day. Every channel was filled with people. As I'm trying to do my range test, you can see the background noise is unbelievably busy. People are talking left and right all the time, and the background noise is just through the roof. So it was a terrible day, absolute terrible day to do a range test. So you're going to see the conditions aren't very good. We still did pretty well. I was able to do the 4 miles with it. Actually, I did 3.5. That's where you'll see me at 3 miles doing the range test. At 3.5, the phone broke. Smashed to about 1 million pieces. But that's at 3.5, so I didn't get a video at 3.5. And when I went out at nighttime, I didn't bother to take my video of me doing the 4-mile range test because it was nighttime. I don't think you could see much. So again, I just wanted to tell you it was just terrible conditions to do it, but it did pretty well. I was very impressed with it. To do what it did in those terrible conditions is excellent, really excellent. Okay, testing out the Cobra. This is a range test of the Cobra HH50, 1 mile from the base station on low power factory antenna. Now we'll see if we can put on high power. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50 factory antenna, 1 mile location. Test 1, 2, 3. This is the 1.5 lithium battery test. These are the rechargeable, but these are the 1.5 volt ones. Okay. Now we'll try the big antenna. Testing the Cobra HH50, 1 mile away with the 51-inch Hyfrika antenna on low power. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50 high power with the 51-inch Hyfrika antenna. This is the 1.5 rechargeable lithium batteries. Okay, so that test is done. We'll go home and check it out.
The range test of the Cobra HH50, 1 mile from the base station on low power factory antenna. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50 factory antenna, 1 mile location. Test 1, 2, 3. This is the 1.5 lithium battery test. Not the, these are the rechargeables, but these are the 1.5 volt. Testing the Cobra HH50, 1 mile away with the 51-inch Hyfrika antenna on low power. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50 high power with the 51-inch Hyfrika antenna. This is the 1.5 rechargeable lithium batteries.
We're testing the Cobra HH50 with the 1.2 volt batteries, rechargeables, factory antenna on low power, 1 mile from the house. We're testing the Cobra HH50 factory antenna, rubber ducky antenna, 1.2 volt batteries, 1 mile from the house, high power. Testing the Cobra HH50 with the 51-inch Hyfrika antenna, 1 mile from the house on low power with the 1.2 rechargeable batteries. Switch that over to high power. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50, 1 mile from the house, 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries with a 51-inch Hyfrika antenna.
We're testing the Cobra testing the Cobra HH50 factory antenna, rubber ducky antenna, 1.2 volt batteries, 1 mile from the house, high power. Testing the Cobra HH50 with the 51-inch Hyfrika antenna, 1 mile from the house on low power with the 1.2 rechargeable batteries. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50, 1 mile from the house, 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries with a 51-inch Hyfrika antenna.
We're testing the Cobra HH50, 2 miles from the house on low power with the factory rubber ducky antenna, and we're using 1.5 volt lithium rechargeable batteries. We're testing the Cobra HH50, 2 miles from the house. We're now on high power. We're using the factory rubber ducky antenna, 2 miles from the house, and we're using 1.5 volt lithium rechargeable batteries. Test 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the big antenna. Alright. We're testing the Cobra HH50, 2 miles from the house, low power, 51-inch high Shrika antenna. We've got 1.5 volt batteries in this, the good lithium rechargeables. 2 miles from the house, low power, test 5, 4, 3. And now we're testing the Cobra HH50, 2 miles from the house, high power, 51-inch high Shrika antenna. 2 miles from the house, high power, 51-inch high Shrika antenna, and we've got the 1.5 volt lithium rechargeable batteries in it.
Cobra HH50, 2 miles from the house, now on high power, using a factory rubber ducky antenna. Testing the Cobra HH50, 2 miles from the house, low power, 51-inch antenna. We've got 1.5 volt batteries in this, the good lithium rechargeables. 2 miles from the house, low power, test 5, 4, 3. And now we're testing Cobra HH50, 2 miles from the house, high power, 51-inch high Shrika antenna. 2 miles from the house, high power, 51-inch high Shrika antenna, and we've got the 1.5 volt lithium rechargeable batteries in it.
We're testing the Cobra HH50 CB, low power, factory rubber ducky antenna, 2 miles from the base. 2 miles from the base, low power. We're using the 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries. These are the the nickel cadmium whatever they are. These are the 1.2 volt batteries. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50 using the 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries, rubber ducky antenna, high power, 2 miles from the house. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing the Cobra HH50, 2 miles from the house. We're using low power. We're using a 51-inch high Shrika antenna, 2 miles from the house, 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries. And now we're using the Cobra HH50 on high power, 2 miles from the house, 51-inch high Shrika antenna, high power, 2 miles from the house, and we're using the 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries.
HH50, 2 miles from the house. We're using low power. We're using a 51-inch high Shrika antenna, 1.2 volt batteries. On high power, 2 miles from the house, 51-inch high Shrika antenna, high power, 2 miles from the house, and we're using the 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries.
We're testing the Cobra HH50. We are 3 miles from the house using the factory antenna on low wattage, low power. Testing 1, 2, 3, low watts, Cobra HH50 factory antenna. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50, 3 miles from the house, factory rubber ducky antenna, high power. We're using 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries. 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries, high power, rubber ducky antenna, Cobra HH50. Testing the Cobra HH50, 3 miles from the house. We've got the 51-inch telescoping antenna on it. We're using 1.2 volt batteries. We're on low power, 3 miles from the house. 51-inch high Shrika antenna. We're using the Cobra HH50. This is the one with the 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries. We've got the high Shrika 51-inch antenna on it. We're on high power. We're 3 miles from the house. Testing 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
We're using a 1.2 volt batteries. We're on low power, 3 miles from the house. 51-inch high Shrika antenna. We're using the Cobra HH50. This is the one with the 1.2 volt rechargeable batteries. We've got the high Shrika 51-inch antenna on it. We're on high power. We're 3 miles from the house. Testing 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Testing the Cobra HH50. We're 3 miles from the house using the rubber ducky antenna. We're on low power. We're using the 1.5 volt lithium rechargeable batteries. 1.5 volt batteries. 3 miles from the house on low power factory rubber ducky antenna. Now we're testing the Cobra HH50, 3 miles from the house, high power, 1.5 volt lithium rechargeable batteries, 3 miles from the house, rubber ducky antenna, Cobra HH50. Testing the Cobra HH50, 3 miles from the house. We're using the 51-inch telescoping antenna. We're on low power using the 1.5 volt batteries, lithium batteries. Telescoping antenna, 3 miles from the house, low power, testing 1, 2, 3. And now we're testing the Cobra HH50. 3 miles from the house. We're on high power. We're using the 51-inch high Shrika antenna, and we've got the 1.5 volt lithium ion batteries.
testing the Cobra HH50 with the 3 miles from the house using the 1.5 volt lithium rechargeable battery. Cobra HH50, 3 miles from the house, high power, 51-inch Hystrika antenna, 1.5 volt, rechargeable lithium battery. Testing the Cobra HH50, 3 miles from the house. We're using the 51-inch telescoping antenna. We're on low power, using a 1.5 volt battery, lithium battery. Telescoping antenna, 3 miles from the house, low power, testing 1, 2, 3. And now we're testing the Cobra HH50, 3 miles from the house. We're on high power. We're using a 51-inch Hystrika antenna. And we've got the 1.5 volt lithium ion battery. Cobra HH50 here, 3.5 miles from the base station, using the 51-inch Hystrika antenna. Here on low power, we're using 1.2 volt, 1.2 volt regular rechargeable batteries. Cobra HH50, we are 3.5 miles from the house. We're on high power. We've got 51-inch Hystrika antenna. 51-inch Hystrika antenna. We're on 1.2 volt battery. Regular battery. High power. Cobra HH50. This is all testing 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Cobra HH50, high power, 3.5 miles from the house. Low power, 3.5 miles from the house, 1.5 volt. Cobra HH50, 1.5 volt. 3.5 miles from the house. We're on high power, 50 telescoping. Hystrika antenna, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 3.5 miles. Testing. 1108. Testing the Cobra HH50. I've got the 51-inch telescoping antenna. I am 3.5 miles from the base station. 51-inch telescoping antenna. Cobra HH50. Handheld CB. I'm using the Power Owl 1.5 volt batteries. 3.5 miles out. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Test, 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 test. 3.5 miles out. Cobra HH50 with the Power Owl 1.5 volt batteries and the 51-inch telescoping antenna. Cobra HH50, test, test, test. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, testing, testing, testing. We're testing the Cobra HH50 handheld walkie-talkie CB. We're at the 3.5 mile mark, 3.5 miles from the base station. We're using a 51-inch Hystrika antenna. We're on high power. Cobra HH50, 3.5 miles out. 51-inch telescoping antenna. We're using the EBL 1.5 volt batteries. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. 3.5 miles out. Cobra HH50, EBL 1.5 volt batteries. It's 10:45 p.m. Testing Cobra HH50 with the rubber ducky antenna, 4 miles from the house. With the EBL 1.5 volt rechargeable batteries, rubber ducky antenna, Cobra HH50 Handheld CB, rubber ducky antenna, 4 miles out. Testing 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Test, test, test. It's 10:45. Testing the Cobra HH50 Handheld CB. We are 4 miles out. We are on high power. We've got the 51-inch Hystrika antenna. 4 miles out, 51-inch telescoping antenna. Test, test, test. Testing 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Test, test, test. Cobra HH50 high power, 51-inch telescoping antenna. EBL batteries. Test, test, test. 4 mile location. We're testing the Cobra HH50 Handheld CB. We are 4 miles out on high power with the 51-inch Hystrika antenna. Testing 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, test. Cobra HH50, 4 miles out, high power, 51-inch telescoping antenna.
Okay, we're back from the range test. As you can see, made zero difference. I'm actually shocked. Very, very surprised. We went up the 1 mile, the 2 miles, the 3 miles, the 3.5. Now, the day I did my range test, it was windy as anything. So if you see me kind of lunge at the tripod and try to save it from blowing over, the wind was just blowing my tripod off. Blowing everything over. It actually broke my phone. So I couldn't go at 3.5 mile mark. That's where my phone got broken. So I had to go out another night. And I went out another night. I went out 4 miles. And I wanted to see, and again, it got the 4 mile, it got 4 miles on the rubber duck antenna. I couldn't believe it. Usually I need this tall antenna. This HYS antenna from Amazon works incredibly well. It really receives and it really transmits well. This was very clear at 4 miles. Now again, that was at 10 o'clock at night. The conditions at 10 o'clock at night were pretty good. But it made zero difference between the rechargeable batteries and the alkaline batteries. So I would think 10.8 volts versus 13.5, and you saw the watt meter test, it was a full watt different. Made no difference on the test, not in any of the ranges, not on any of the antennas, and it really did nice. It sounds nice and clear. It looked beautiful out at night. When I went out at 10, that display is beautiful. So this is my favorite radio. If you want to get a nice one, the size is just right. You know, you can almost put it in your shirt pocket. It's a nice small size. It does everything. It's got a ton of features on it. It works really nice. I love the company. It's not my absolute top of the favorite, but it's probably within the top 3 of all my favorite CBs. Usually if I'm fooling around, if I got somebody, we'll say down at my barn, half a mile from here, I'll give them a walkie-talkie and I keep one up here, or I have my base station on, and I can go back and forth. And the walkie-talkie I always grab, the Cobra HH50. I really like that CB. It's an excellent, excellent CB. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you watching the channel. Hope you learned something about the Cobra HH50 CB. It's one of my favorites.